What should you bring on safari? Hello internet, it is Jeff here, safari addict, media producer, and social media nature series host. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips and insight with you on what to pack for your upcoming dream safari trip. If you're new here, I am a safari addict. I live and breathe safaris, and going on wildlife expeditions is my life. This entire channel is dedicated to safari vlogs that I take all across the world. Lately, I've been sharing weekly vlogs from our recent adventures in Kenya. I've been to Tanzania, Uganda, Mozambique, and South Africa, to name a few. In fact, in the summer of 2019, I worked for 2 months on a wildlife research base in South Africa, going on game drive twice a day. So I'm using these past experiences to give you some advice on what you should pack for your trip, because I've been on a lot of these trips before. I know what kind of things I actually like to bring, things that are efficient and compact, and that's what this video is here for. So this is your one-stop shop. All the products or versions of it that I am mentioning in this video are linked below. The main link that you're going to be finding there is my Amazon storefront link. This is a place where I organize all of the items I am mentioning in this list, things you may have not even considered packing before until I bring them up. And this is an organized place where you can see visually everything that you should consider packing in your luggage for your upcoming trip. This would include my camera gear if you're curious to know more about what I bring on safari, which lenses and whatnot. I also have some really nice, neat gadgets, tried and tested brands that I use constantly, so that's what that link is for. I also have a few other links going to other products outside of Amazon that I definitely suggest you check out. So with that said, let's get into it. What should you pack for safari? You ready? Let's do it. All right, the first thing I want to mention, this is the most important thing that you want to pack, is layers, warmth. You guys, you're going to want to pack a lot of layers for this trip. I think there's a big misconception that a place like Africa is just always hot. And it is very hot most of the time, but it's also very cold. It can be freezing in the mornings. It can be very windy. You want to be prepared for all types of weather conditions. So my top tip for you is to bring tons of layers. You're going to want to bring things that are easy to shed off. Most of the wildlife activity that you're going to be wanting to find when you're on safari or game drives is going to be happening in the early morning and late evening. This is crepuscular time, twilight. This is dawn and dusk, which is the coldest time of day. Sometimes these morning game drives happen even before the sun rises. So it's important to be bundled up, be very cozy, because you don't want to end up on these open air vehicles, freezing your ass off and having that take away from the experience. So it's very important to pack lots of layers. A lot of the game drives I went on in South Africa when I was based there, I was completely bundled up in the morning, hat, mittens, gloves, scarves, and by the end of the game drives, I was in shorts and a t-shirt because it was so hot. That's how quickly the temperature can rise. So throughout the entire game drive, I'm shedding things like vests, I'm shedding jackets, all of that stuff. So that's my biggest tip for you. As far as jackets, you're gonna want something that breaks the wind really well. I do recommend maybe fleece or wool on the outside. That's a super nice, cozy way to stay warm, and it does break the wind. Maybe a windbreaker works better for you. This is really important because, like I said, you are on an open air vehicle most of the time, and you're gonna be feeling that early morning air hitting your face. I like to think of it this way. Every single part of your body needs to have like a cozy warmth layer to it, okay? So starting with your head, you're gonna want a warm beanie or a headband that's gonna keep your ears warm. Then if we move down to our neck, I'd recommend like a nice cozy scarf. And then working our way down, all the way down to your feet. Fuzzy socks are such an amazing thing to consider bringing. I love having nice warm feet. Here's some other things I recommend bringing. This is like a great layer. I use this all the time. This is like a quarter zip. This is the kind of thing that really hugs the skin and insulates really well. So this is like a perfect example of a layer you should bring. Sweatshirts are nice, although those can be sometimes pretty bulky. But vests like this, you know, you just shed them all day long, and that's the best way to do it. And when it comes to evening game drive, you're doing it in reverse order. So you're gonna start off with shorts and a t-shirt, and by the end of it, you're gonna be all bundled up again. A lot of the lodges you're staying in will have things like blankets and layers because they wanna make sure their guests are nice and warm, but it's always nice to just have your own clothing items with you for your own trip. So that's my suggestion for you. Layers. Say it with me now, layers. So one cool gadget that you might wanna bring is something like this. This is a portable, chargeable hand warmer. When it comes to life's simple pleasures, you guys, this has been such a nice thing to have. You just slip it in your pocket and turn it on, and it keeps your hands super warm for the entire game drive. So I love something like this, and I have that in my Amazon storefront as well. So let's move on to portable chargers. Portable chargers is something you really should have. If you're like me, we're gonna be having a lot of electronics with us when we're on safari. Our phones are gonna be taking tons of videos and photos throughout the adventure. Of course, our camera as well. We want spare batteries, all that jazz. And it's really important to have portable chargers that last and have a lot of charge to them. Definitely do not forget that. I love this thing. This is a little block. And what I love about it is that you don't need a cord. So if you forget that back at your room, no big deal, because look at that. It just slides right out and it's, you know, everything in one. And it has so many charges to it. I can't seem to find this exact portable charger on Amazon, but I have one that's very similar linked in there. So half the time, you guys, I'm filming nonstop. I'm creating vlogs on all the trips and I'm going through my battery. I'm frying through it. So I have this portable battery and it charges so quickly. Definitely get something like this. Another reason why portable chargers are great is that sometimes there's power outages, or the camps you're staying at, they might be eco lodges, so they're conserving power. You know, plugging in your items might not be always reliable. So having that backup is everything. Moving on to footwear, I get this question a lot. What kind of shoes should you bring? You know, there's no specific rule on what you should bring, but I do recommend packing a pair of shoes that you just don't care about. Like, you don't care if they get coated in mud, because sometimes, and this has happened, oh my God. I got my Quinn. Okay, sorry, my dog really wants to be in the video. This is Quinn. Say hi, Quinn. Do you want to go on safari one day? You're not a good traveler. She's gonna be on my lap for the time being. As I was saying, I definitely recommend bringing a very versatile shoe. If you wanna go on bushwalks or hikes, you're gonna need good footwear. The important thing to know is that these safari vehicles you are taking out on game drive, they sometimes have mechanical issues, right? That's just something that happens, and it's happened to me a lot. I've been stranded out in the Masai Mara. In South Africa, our vehicle got stuck all the time in mud, and sometimes you need to hop out. And if you're wearing shoes that you love and wanna keep clean, this is not the place you want to wear them. You want to wear something that you just don't care about. Like, if they get covered in mud, soaking wet, you're going to be like, okay, cool, I brought the right shoes. Bring good, durable shoes that are versatile. That's my suggestion for you. Hats. Okay, this one is very simple. Definitely recommend bringing 2 types of hats with you. I would suggest bringing a beanie, or like I said earlier, a headband to keep your head warm in the early mornings. And then switching to something that has a rim, something that has a visor effect, because the sun is very intense and very bright in a place such as Kenya. So it's important to have that shade protecting your face. It's just nice so that light doesn't blind you. I hope that one is pretty self-explanatory. The next thing I suggest bringing is a water bottle, and not just any water bottle. I want to tell you about a really cool gadget that I've been taking with me everywhere around the world. This is something you might want to consider. So in many places I have traveled before, clean drinking water isn't always as accessible as it is in places such as the United States where I'm from. And if you're someone like me, I'm very paranoid about the water I drink. And this is probably because I've been very sick from drinking tainted water before. Every single lodge or camp I have stayed in has offered purified drinking water to their guests because that is an essential. But something that I bring with me everywhere I go now is just something that adds an extra layer of protection to everything I drink. So I want to introduce you to my Lark Pure V water bottle. This is a self-cleaning water bottle. Yes, you heard me. This was a Shark Tank product. And at first I was very skeptical. I was like, how does this really work? But it's so cool. So what you do is you fill it up with water. So if you're on safari, you're gonna be filling this bottle up with purified drinking water that the lodge gives you. But to add that extra layer of protection, all you have to do is press this button at the top. Okay, and you're gonna notice that it's lighting up a little bit. See that light going off? That is illuminating a UVC light, which kills 99% of bacteria in the bottle. It is completely silent. I can't even hear it going. And what's cool about this is that it goes off every 2 hours. The cycle continues. It lasts only 20 seconds each cycle. And just like that, your water is just that much cleaner. So this is something I take with me everywhere I go. It is attached to the hip, and not just for traveling, just everyday life. And I wanted to include it in this video because this is going with me on every future safari. This is the best. Again, this is a Lark Pure V water bottle, and if you're interested in getting your own, and I have a link to this product in the caption below. Also, just look how elegant the bottle looks. It's chic, it's cool, it's perfect for the trendy traveler. Continuing on with the list, I'm going to be talking about sunscreen. Sunscreen is so important. The sun can be very intense. In a place like Kenya, you are literally on the equator, you guys. The sun is directly above. The UV index is very intense. Definitely have some sunscreen on hand with you. Like I said, most of the lodges will provide this to their guests, but in case it's not available, have your own. Maybe you want to purchase this when you arrive in your safari destination, because I know sometimes traveling with liquids is not the best idea, but it's very important to protect your skin because it is intense there, you guys. I once walked out in Kenya for like, I think 8 to 10 minutes, and my skin doesn't burn very easily, but after just 10 minutes, I was peachy red. Ouch, it hurt so bad. Definitely always have sunscreen. Be diligent about that. Bug spray, that's a big one. You guys, we're in the bush. There are lots of bugs. It doesn't matter where you go or how you do it, there's bugs everywhere. This isn't something to worry about necessarily, and I know you might be thinking like malaria, am I gonna get a disease? In my experience, most places I have been before, there hasn't been a ton of mosquitoes. It also depends on what season you're going. So if you're planning to go to a place like East Africa in June, July, August, you're gonna be fine. There's not gonna be a ton of mosquitoes, but it's always just nice to have bug spray just so they're not like buzzing around your face all day. Traveling with actual spray is sometimes difficult. You know, traveling with liquids, like I said, sometimes a hassle. So I like to bring the little packets with wipes inside and just wipe that DEET on the skin. It works like a charm every single time. Bug spray, don't forget it. I'm gonna make a quick note on camera. Of course you wanna bring a camera on safari, and maybe your cell phone is gonna be all you need, and that's great, but if you wanna upgrade your camera game on this trip, and you're curious what lenses I use on my trip, I have a whole camera setup in my Amazon storefront. The camera that I've been using that I absolutely love is my A7 Mark III. This is the best. It's such a nice compact mirrorless camera. It has phenomenal video. I think that's why I ended up making the purchase, and I've been so nervous about making this camera purchase for a long time because I'm like, what if I go on the trip and I don't like the camera and I don't like the photos? Like that whole, you know, documenting experience went to waste. But no, this camera has never let me down. I also, for all my wildlife shots, use this bad boy right here. This is my 350mm lens. Look at that. It is so nice. It has built-in stabilization, so when you're videoing like this and your hand's kind of like shaking like this or the vehicle's rumbling, it stays really, really steady. I love this thing. This is linked below. I don't know the exact name of the lens, but it is a Sony lens, and here's some info for you if you want to get those very specific details. E 4.5 to 6.3/70 to 350mm GOSS. Those sound like high-tech terms. I love this thing. This has never left me on safari. So that's a little bit about my camera setup. And of course, things that you might not have considered to bring would be things like lens wipes. There's gonna be dust hitting you in the vehicle when you're in an open air vehicle. So these lens wipes have been phenomenal. I love taking these everywhere I go. Also, I wear glasses and sunglasses, so they are useful for that as well. You definitely wanna bring spare batteries, and a really cool little gadget I love is this. This is a card reading dongle that connects your memory card to your phone. So if you wanna take photos right from your camera and plug them into your phone, just like this, they can be imported instantly. You can select which photos you want. I love this thing, it's so great, and people are always so impressed by it when I carry it with me anywhere I go, and then you can immediately start posting or editing on your phone. So I definitely recommend checking that out. All right, binoculars, safari, you're gonna wanna see animals up close. And I'm gonna be honest, you don't necessarily need to pack binoculars. A lot of the lodges and safari guides have some for guests to use. If you really want your own and have a nice pair, I have some linked in my Amazon storefront that I've used in the past from brands that I love. Having nice binos versus cheap binos definitely makes all the difference though, you guys. The quality of the glass, the clarity, it is a game changer once you get a nice pair. So don't cheap out on binos if you're interested in getting a nice pair of those. All right, a few quick toiletry items I definitely recommend bringing. The first one would be eye drops. Eye drops are everything, you guys. I wear contacts, and I want you to be aware that when you're on safari, you're gonna be in that open air, the wind's gonna be blowing, you're gonna be outside all day, dust might collect on your eyes, and eye drops have been a lifesaver. They're something I always have with me, and because I wear contacts, my eyes become drier much more easily, so this is essential. I mean, you just need to bring eye drops. Okay, that's all. I definitely recommend bringing a first aid kit just in case. I mean, that goes for any trip you go on, really. And the last thing I wanna recommend bringing would be drugs. If you get car sick, definitely bring some medication for that. It's always nice to just have ibuprofen on you in case you get a headache, or Tums in case you get an upset stomach. I think that is the #1 thing I've used while on safari. Sometimes you eat something that just disagrees with you. It happens to all of us. So just pack those things with you. You don't want something like an upset stomach to take away from your experience. I definitely recommend that. A quick note on clothing. It doesn't really matter what type of clothes you wear. You aren't obligated to wear neutrals or khaki, dark olive green, like we all kind of picture that safari aesthetic to be. You don't have to dress like a colonizer, you guys. You're allowed to wear whatever you want, but I don't recommend wearing bright colors. This is because bright colors are very reflective to the eyes of most animal species. I don't recommend wearing bright white. Not only is white bad because it might collect dust and it's hard to keep clean, but this is gonna be reflective to animals and it can startle them. To give you an example, I actually learned this from a rhino caretaker on my recent trip to Kenya. We were up close with a semi-domesticated rhino, and she was purposely avoiding one of the people in our group, Shelly, is because she was wearing a white shirt, and the caretaker told us that Rhinos have very poor eyesight. They can't really see the shape of an object or a person or what it is they're looking at, but they can see that reflectiveness coming from what they're wearing. So they see that bright white and they end up getting startled and avoid that color. So this goes for animals like elephants and lions, predator species. I don't recommend bringing bright colors, no neons. Keep to those kind of more subdued neutral colors and you're gonna be way better off. So that's my clothing tip for you. And that's it. That's my essential packing list. Again, everything I mentioned in this video is linked below, so I wanted this to be your one-stop shop when packing for your safari trip. If this was helpful to you and you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe. I really appreciate your support. I want to be able to live the safari life forever, so by hitting subscribe, you're allowing me to do so. Thank you so much. And if you're interested in exploring natural places with me all around the world, I have tons of weekly vlogs and videos coming out each week. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, all the social medias where I talk about natural phenomenon, wildlife species, and natural destinations all around the world. So you can find me anywhere and everywhere. Thank you so much for following along and watching this video. If you want to join me for more wildlife expeditions and learn more about how to prepare for your upcoming safari and nature trips, follow me for more adventures. Until then, safe travels.